Let astonishment be possible. Whatever you have come anticipating, whatever you expect or worry, whether you worry for our world, for the future, for our lives, let it go. Let it go and make space in your heart to be surprised. Make room in your soul for a new story shape. Let astonishment be possible. Let astonishment be possible at this life that remains a miracle. Imagine here the bursting of joy, relentless and resilient, coming in waves, washing over us with music, and with story, and with silence. And still this dreaming together, being hope for each other, and courage to believe that a new day can be dawning for all of us. Come, let us be in worship together. These words, To Begin to Shape Our Space, by Gretchen Haley. We welcome you here on this morning to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Central Oregon. We invite you here today, whether your life feels difficult or if you feel easy breezy, we welcome you here today. Whether you're in grief or mourning, or you feel delight and joy and waves coming over you. Whether your allergies are heavy and making your head full, or you're breathing easy in and out. Whether you started the first day of a new job just yesterday, or just yesterday you put in long, hard hours at a job you've known for a while. Whether you're estranged from your family, whether you're trying to make amends or surrounded by them. Whether you have plans for this day or it's yet wide open possibility to be discovered, we welcome you here. And no matter what your day brings, we are grateful that you chose to begin it in this community, starting with us. As we begin today, I'd like to share something with you from our community. Do you see that new altar cloth? Let me share something with you. Ellen Atkin dropped it off last week, and she wrote, for our official start of the church year, one very different, albeit, a new altar cloth. I saw the old one when I was recording for Eric. It had been through a great deal, and I will try to remove the wax and refresh it. Thank you, Ellen. This new one has a precious piece of cloth underneath that I put on the tables during one of our events for everyone to draw on with magic markers. How fitting that next to our chalice are the prayers for our kids, by our kids, for everyone as we return to this new beginning together. Love, Ellen. So here is that cloth for community, made by one in our community. And here's that precious bag she spoke of. Dreams of Children, a collaborative piece of art. What we create here is a collaborative piece of ongoing art in this religious community. We look to what is, and we look to what is possible. And that's what we're focusing on this morning. The possible. We know what is possible in the world goes in both directions. We know that there are possible things in the world that are full of love and joy and delight and justice and all that can be. And the mere thought of all that can be can make me a little anxious sometimes. Or also, what is possible in the world is heavy and can be full of hate and difficulty. And that can make me anxious sometimes. Because all of what is possible brings lots of feelings to us. We begin today with our hymn, Meditation on Breathing. We invite you to sing it with us if you know it. If you don't, it's pretty quick to catch on. There's the drone part of breathe in, breathe out that I'll be singing. And then the other words would be also just in your chat. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. And Erica and Chayla will be singing two different melodies for that. Feel free to just listen, have the songs wash over you, or join in, pick a piece, and sing it in your own space, in your own way.
Good morning. This morning's chalice reading is by Deborah Falk. The chalice lit among us is a beacon of hope in a world of crisis, a beacon of possibility made manifest in community, a beacon of warmth through our interconnections, a beacon of light illuminating our shared wisdom, a beacon of connection by our being together.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the bringing life of shape and justice. Roots only close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning. I'm Chayla Sloper, your Congregational Life Facilitator, and I have today's announcements. So today is the last Sunday of the month, and we will be having our Greater Community Collection, and I'll tell you a little bit about that and introduce our guest speaker after the announcements. But today is also the last Sunday of this monthly worship theme of embracing possibilities. So throughout the month, we've been exploring that in a variety of ways. Soul Matters groups have started, and speaking of Soul Matters, if you'd like to sign up, you can look for the sign up in the weekly ACE. The all congregational email is how we stay in touch through the week, information that we need to know, and much of it I'll be emphasizing, underscoring, highlighting here so that we can all participate to the degree that we desire. So yes, if you are visiting today, a very warm welcome. And we have a virtual visitor form whereby you can even sign up to be on our emailing list, and you'll get that ACE every week. So the link for signing up, it will be in the chat, the virtual visitor form. Starting with our children. So today, our religious exploration classes, in some contexts, we would call that Sunday school. The online RE classes have begun today for elementary school and middle school children, and next Sunday they'll begin with our high school youth as well. So our RE director, Amy Brock, has participated in this collaborative within our Pacific Northwest region. It's really exciting. All of the volunteers have been approved with Safe Congregations clearance. And this is how we continue to work in their faith development. So there'll be music, curricula, songs, games, just a really well-planned online RE program until we can meet again in person. So if your child or children have not yet been registered for RE, please do that. In order to participate in these classes, they'll need to be registered with our RE program here. Information about that is also in the ACE. Coming up will be our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Group 21-Day Challenge. This is the third challenge that our congregation has organized to work at actively becoming anti-racist. The theme or the focus of this next 21-day challenge will be on the Indigenous neighbors that we have here in our region, and particularly the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs. So the sign up for that will also be in the ACE. You got that right. The first email will be coming out next Monday on the 4th, and then the first discussion on the 11th. So you'll want to sign up right away and then be on the mailing list. There's been a lot of work, a lot of thought, a lot of heart put into this new 21-day challenge. So for 3 weeks, we can just immerse ourselves and really open our hearts to becoming advocates and anti-racists in our community. I'm so happy that many of our small groups have resumed. We have the writers group that will be meeting again on first and third Mondays, Poetry Connections on second and fourth Thursdays, the first Wednesday book group. They've got an exciting plan of books to read this coming year. Once again, find all this information in the ACE. I just want you to be aware of it and so that you can be making these connections. Also, Tai Chi with Master Franklin will begin again next Tuesday, not this Tuesday, but on the 5th, 9:45 in the morning in Linus Pauling. If you are a singer and you're interested in joining the choir, send an email to our new music director, Eric, and his email is Eric, E-R-I-K, at uufco.org. always welcome to receive new singers. And for now, a lot of the work is being done remotely, recordings, really marvelous results, really so exciting. Let's see, I've got just a couple more things. Many, many thanks for those of you who have made really fun, interesting opportunities for congregants to meet together to fundraise for the church through our auction. So the auction happened at the end of spring, and there have already been a couple of really wonderful events that have occurred. Lou Schmerber and his outdoor music. Marty Rudolph had a wonderful chamber quartet last night outdoor at her home. On Monday, October 4th, our own member, Carolyn Tate, Dr. Carolyn Tate, who's Professor Emerita of Pre-Columbian Art, has a lecture about Mayan books, hieroglyphics, how they communicated. She's just a brilliant, wonderful presenter. So this is an auction item. It'll be by Zoom. It'll be about 2 hours long, 6:30. And if you're interested, her email is in the ACE. So look at the ACE. That's where you'll find out about that. Let's see. It looks like the last little bit as we come into the home stretch, really wanting, I know that we're all yearning to be meeting together in person again. So we're looking very hopefully at being able to meet in person, perhaps in new ways. That is to say, there'll be some adjustments and accommodations as we're just winding down with the pandemic. So we're looking at meeting together in the month of October. Really keep your fingers crossed. There'll be more information in the ACE. Reverend Scott is also thinking about a midweek outdoor contemplative worship, more informal, more heart-centered, and again, meeting outdoors. So we're looking at that on possibly beginning on Wednesday, October 6th. So there's some scheduling things that we're tossing out, but just have that as a possibility where we can meet outside, be together, and begin to re-socialize after all of these months of just seeing our little faces on Zoom. Grateful for the tools we've had, but we really want to be meeting together. So I'm going to send you with blessings on your day, but I also want to introduce Sally Compton, who's here to speak about Think Wild, the recipient of September's Greater Community Collection. So bright blessings. Take it away, Sally.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on this morning and for your support of Think Wild. So I'll just tell you a little bit about our organization. My name is Sally, and I'm the executive director of Think Wild. We're a 501c3 nonprofit wildlife hospital and rescue center here in Bend. We're located over on the east side on about 4 acres. And we actually just opened for native wildlife care last February. So although we've been around for a couple of years doing education programs and outreach, this was actually our first full busy season for wildlife care. And so we really, really appreciate all of your support. We rescue and rehabilitate native wildlife. So that includes anything from songbirds and waterfowl to your small mammals like squirrels and chipmunks and marmots, to large mammals like bobcats and raccoons, porcupine, badgers. And then the most common patients that we have are birds of prey. So actually today I spent the morning doing feedings for our great horned owls, and we have a peregrine falcon and a golden eagle. So that's what we do here at the Wildlife Hospital. We also do a lot of education programs and outreach. We focus specifically on K through 12 underserved communities, specifically in Jefferson County and Crook County. So we go out east quite often and deliver outdoor environmental programs out there where we focus on preventing wildlife conflicts and wildlife conservation and how we can help protect wildlife habitat here in Central Oregon. We also do conservation services. So specifically, we focus on promoting beaver success. Beavers are keystone species. They're really important to our watershed health, preventing drought. And so we do a lot of humane wildlife conflict mitigation services, habitat restoration, and again, just your outreach and awareness on this. we are going into the off season, so we're not quite as busy here at Think Wild at the Wildlife Hospital. And the good news is that because of that, we can offer private tours. So if any of you would ever like to come out to Think Wild and have a tour of the facility, see all of the construction that we've done over the last year, you can go on our website and book a tour. We're also always having events here at the Wildlife Hospital. We can do outreach events or we come to you and deliver programs. So again, just check out our website and get involved if you like to. We're also always accepting volunteers. So if it's always been your dream to work with wildlife or, educate people on wildlife, this is a really great opportunity to do that. Especially during the busy season, we have volunteers here from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And you can do anything from clean cages to hold raptors and feed baby birds. So it's a lot of fun. But again, I just want to say thank you for your support, and please reach out if you have any questions or if you want to learn more. We're on social media, so you can always get updates. And I know sometimes it's fun to just kind of see all the cool wildlife that we have coming in here. So yeah, thank you.
Let me tell you about Farmer Chin. Farmer Chin had a pretty typical life. He had his acres and his harvest to tend to. He had his animals and his family to help with the tasks. He also had neighbors who would sometimes visit and bring dumplings and their opinions. One day, Farmer Chin's strongest, most beautiful horse ran away, and the neighbors came immediately to express their sorrow for Farmer Chin having lost one of his most valuable possessions. And they asked him if he wasn't just sad as he could be about that change of fortune. After all, losing value is a horrible thing to experience. Farmer Chin's response was, maybe yes, maybe no. The following day, that horse returned with 10 other wild horses, equally beautiful, equally strong, adding to Farmer Chin's stables. And the neighbors came running, celebrating, saying how wonderful it was that he now had all of these additional horses. Farmer Chin's response was, maybe yes, maybe no. The next day, his oldest child, who was to be the heir to the farm, the child who showed the most interest in inheriting this land and this responsibility, was taming the horses, or trying to, and their leg was broken in the process. And the neighbors came running once again to lament this change of fortune, saying how disappointed Farmer Chin must be that his child would now grow up, possibly with a limp for the rest of their lives. Isn't that just a sorrowful, sad state of affairs? Farmer Chin said, maybe yes, maybe no. A week later, an announcement went throughout the kingdom that war was at hand, and that the young, strong, able-bodied children would be conscripted into the army and into the service of the kingdom. But Farmer Chin's child wasn't able to go because their leg had just been broken. And the neighbors came running with the dumplings and the opinions, saying how wonderful it was. What a relief it must be to Farmer Chin that his child would not have to go and fight in the war. And Farmer Chin responded, I bet you can guess. Maybe yes, maybe no. This story reminds us that we always have the choice to remain open to embrace all the possibilities in a situation, when we might be tempted to immediately assume that something is a tragedy or even a great boon, that we might take a second, reevaluate the situation, and see how it unfolds. And you know, that story inspired me to write this song. The journey isn't over. The race is far from run. The story isn't written. The game's just begun. Each day is a new day. Every day is a new day. Who knows what comes next? If misery befalls you, let the misery take hold. When tragedy calls you, you can let the thing unfold. Each day is a new day, every day is a new day. Who knows what comes next? This might be the best day you ever had. The truth is, no day is really good or bad. Might be the path that you've chosen, might be the last one you would. Things might be getting so crazy, you would laugh if you could. Slide on through it with grace, open your heart and embrace whatever comes next. Slide into it with grace, open your heart and embrace whatever comes next. Whatever comes next.
Please join me in reciting our children's covenant together. In this place, I am kind. In this place, I am loving. In this place, I am a friend to the earth and all animals and people. In this place, I am loved.
Father Chen was wise and calm and grounded, not reacting to the actions of the day, just wondering what they might bring. Perhaps Father Chen is more grounded than I am, because I know that the joys and sorrows in my life bring about all kinds of feelings, as I'm sure they do for you as well, feelings of joy and feelings of sorrow. And so we do create a space here today. We'll open our chat where we can share those joys and sorrows to be held in this community. And yet, perhaps we can take a nod from Farmer Chen to hold with some humility that we never know how our lives will unfold with these joys and with these sorrows. But yet, we do honor that they move in us today, that they affect our lives. And so we lift them up into this community.
Hello again. Today's reading is by Robert Fulghum. It's called The Chair Men. We say the young have much to learn, but I find they know and do things unfamiliar to me, so I'm pleased to learn from them what I can. Example, 2 young college men asked me for a ride because they were late to work. Their summer construction job was near my office, so I was glad to oblige. Besides working hard and playing hard, what's happening in your lives? They exchanged glances, then one said, "We're eating a chair." What? Yes, it seems that their college philosophy teacher gave them an extra credit assignment. Do something unique and memorable, not dangerous or foolish, but something imaginative, inventive, and instructive. Write it up and explain what was learned and how it might apply to their philosophy of life. So they're eating a chair. They bought a plain wooden kitchen chair at an unfinished furniture store. Using a wood rasp, they have been shaving away at the chair, mixing the dust into their granola for breakfast, and sprinkling the dust on their salads at dinner. So far, they have consumed most of a leg, 2 rungs, and a back piece. And while they don't want to overdo it, the pace is picking up. Still, the project may not be finished before summer's end, so they may enlist friends who, it seems, are enthusiastically willing to help eat a chair. And yes, they consulted a physician to make sure the wood dust was not harmful. And no, it doesn't taste bad, especially if they mix in a little cinnamon at breakfast and a little lemon pepper at dinner. And yes, they have learned a few things along the way. Like what? I asked. Like how amazing long-term goals can be achieved in incremental stages. Like how something seemingly idiotic affects your thinking about other things you do. For example, they routinely run about 15 miles a week to stay in shape, around and around the lake. They wondered where 15 miles a week would take them if they ran in a straight line. So they got a road map and began marking off mileage, headed south. They could be in Portland, Oregon in a couple of weeks, but that's boring. So they have a European map now and are starting out in Vienna, headed for Athens. Using guidebooks, they're figuring out what there is to see and do along the way. They're touring the world in their minds. And of course, they're very pleased with themselves. They're sure they'll astound the professor when he asks for their report. We ate a chair. It will blow the dude away, said one. For all the goofiness of this project, these young men are learning patience and perseverance. Some things cannot be had except on a little at a time, keep the long goal in mind, stay focused basis. Love and friendship are like that. Marriage and parenthood too, and peace and justice and social change. And as wonderfully silly as it seems, eating a chair may lead my young college friends to wisdom and nobler aspirations. In their foolishness lies the seed of what might be, little by little.
Our choir is blessed to do a brand new work, I Am Possibility, by David Van Kampen, the composer, to a beautiful poem by Becky Boson. David Van Kampen writes about the work. In January of 2020, the Lincoln Boys Choir commissioned me to compose a piece. I asked my friend and frequent collaborator, Becky Boson, to write a poem for the project, and she crafted a pre-pandemic message of hope and optimism. I finished the piece and sent it off, and in the weeks that followed, we discovered that it would be more important than ever to hold on to its message. Like so much music in 2020, the LBC's premiere of I Am Possibility happened virtually. But Becky and I look forward to many live and unmasked renditions as we move into a post-COVID world. I am possibility. I am possibility taken under wing. Growing roots, I raise my voice. Lifted up, I sing. I am hope unlimited, purple morning sky. Youthful sparrow learns to soar. Gliding now, I fly. I am faithful promise, winter into spring. Tended seeds yield summer gifts. Planted here I sing. Ascending toward the clouds. Ascending toward the clouds. Ascending toward the clouds, then back to the ground. I am possibility. I am faithful sound. A joyful noise forevermore, echoing abound.
I am reluctant to do this after that beautiful anthem by the choir, but I clearly have it written right here that it's how I'm beginning my sermon, so here we go. Oh, the Lord's been good to me, and so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and the rain and the apple seed. The Lord's been good to me. Johnny Appleseed, amen. I'm wondering if every single person listening right now might know that song. Yes, yes. Yes, everyone here does. Here's a song, here's a myth and a legend that we all know. Johnny Appleseed, this character with a pot on his head, barefoot with a sack of apple seeds, roaming across the lands, spreading seeds and planting apple trees. My wife's family uses this song as the blessing for dinner when the families have all gathered and we're sitting there and we don't know who's going to say the blessing, and everyone's looking at each other and everyone's looking down, hoping they're not chosen to say a formal blessing, and then someone invariably starts, oh, and everybody joins in and we all sing Johnny Appleseed. I just wonder if John Chapman in the early 1800s ever could have imagined that we all would have known the song Johnny Appleseed and would have sung it in our preschool classes and learned it along the way. John Chapman, this man in 1800s who introduced apple trees in large parts of Pennsylvania and Ohio and Indiana and Illinois and Ontario and West Virginia. Johnny Appleseed, a real man, John Chapman. So we have this popular mythic image of Johnny Appleseed. In fact, he didn't plant trees randomly. He was very intentional about it, and he didn't throw scattered seeds for orchards. He planted very crafted nurseries, and he built fences around them so that livestock would not eat them. And then he would go to another part, but he would sell the plot to a farmer who would then sell stakes in the trees, of which John Chapman would have a cut in the share. In fact, he was an entrepreneur, a dreamer of what he might create. And his apples weren't used for eating so much as making hard cider. He's a guy who dreamed of what he might do with apple seeds across the land, and he did it. He dreamed it up, he made a plan, he thought it was possible, even though it hadn't been done. And he went out and he did it. I've been thinking a lot about this word possible this week, and what it means and how it plays in our lives. And as oftentimes with a sermon does, when you put your attention on one word, you start seeing it everywhere. What is possible? One of my favorites was passing a billboard for the Oregon Lottery, and it said, millions of possibilities. True, millions of possibilities. Very few lead to millions of dollars, but in theory, millions of possibilities. Some of those possibilities being scratching off a big fat zero. Possible. It means being within the limits of ability, capacity, or realization. Possible. Ability, capacity, or realization. There's a lot of room in that last idea of realization. It seems to me this idea of possibility is very much like a rubber band, where we know what is possible, but yet we dream of what could be realized. And the impossible keeps becoming possible. And that circle keeps becoming wider and wider and wider over time. Certainly there's a range of things in our world that we see as doable, available. But how do we know? How can we ever know those far limits of what can be possible? What we might call impossible today. We should all be careful about what we say is impossible. We hear people say that anything is possible, not because they believe in logical impossibilities or physical impossibilities, but because they have seen the seemingly impossible become realized. Who would have thought that airplane flight would have been possible centuries ago? But in 1905, it happened. But in 1905, who would have thought that 65 years later, we would put a human on the moon? From first flight to human on the moon in 65 years. Who would have thought that is possible? And I know that when I was a child and I watched this cartoon called The Jetsons, all about the future and things that were seemingly impossible, one of the coolest things was the screen on the wall that someone would just pop up and they could have a conversation with. Impossible. Or is it? As we sit here on Zoom this morning. And we can do that on a phone, too, that we carry in our pocket. We don't even have to put it on the wall like the Jetsons. Gandhi was jailed in 1907 for refusing to follow a new law that required Indians to register, to be fingerprinted. So there he sat in jail in 1907. And in jail, he read Civil Disobedience by Henry David Thoreau. And if you asked a British colonist in 1907 who considered India a colony of England, if they thought they could be defeated by Gandhi's non-violent resistance and gain independence in 1947, 60 years later, who would have thought that was possible? Ask a black person in 1950 if it was possible for in America a first black president elected in 2008, 58 years later. Seemingly impossible. Or a member of the LGBTQ plus community at the Stonewall riots in 1969. If in 2015 we'd see the Marriage Equality Act just 46 years later? No. Impossible, they would say. Too far a gap. Maybe in the distant future, maybe, with enough work and enough time and enough energy, maybe it could be possible. But the impossible became possible. The impossible becomes possible only after it happens, only after people and individuals dedicate to that long work. And I wonder, what is it that happened in those in-between years where something seemed impossible and became a reality? What happened? My guess is it was variations on dreaming, goal setting, planning, and then dedication and hard work. All of these surely started with a dream. All accomplishments in our lives or in the world around us. Large dreams sometimes small dreams, but dreams. Dreaming in that place in our imagination to bring something that is not in our world into the realm of our imagination. People dream big and people dream wide, and the world is changed by it. And then this dream sometimes, if it's going to become more than just an idea, has to become more real, more tangible. And so goals are formed around how that dream might happen. But goals still are somewhat abstract, they're not real, so a plan must be hatched. How do we make those goals happen? So goals are made. And then the hard work and the dedication to bring that dream into reality. I once heard it said that if you want to change your life, write a list of 20 goals, 20 things that you dream of for yourself. And then look at that list and take it down to 1, 2, or 3 so that you can really dedicate and focus. This part isn't easy, the dedication part. The white American president Theodore Roosevelt said that nothing in the world is worth having or worth doing unless it means effort, pain, and difficulty. I've never envied in my life a human being who led an easy life. Spoken by a man who accomplished a lot. And this holds true in my life as well. Think of yours. Those things in your life that you are the most proud of, your accomplishments, those things that you have brought into reality from a dream. My guess is you worked for them. Over time, you dedicated, hard work, you sacrificed. And if you look even harder, you might even find that some of the most dissatisfying places in your life are indeed those places of comfort that Roosevelt spoke of. Kevin Hart is a black American comedian and actor. And he said, it's not about putting up with discomfort, it's about refusing to put up with comfort. And I like the way he put that on his head. Kevin Hart is one of the most successful entertainers. Twice he's been the highest earning comedian in the country. And I'm fascinated by his story because he has one of those stories that he's so adept at self-creation, self-realization, and authenticity. And I looked into his story and guess what? Dreaming, goals, a plan, and then hard work and dedication. Here's another story of that list. So Hart had already become successful in his career. And Tiffany Haddish, another comedian, had not seen the same fortune. She'd been trying for a while to be a comedian, and Hart and Haddish knew each other from their work either on stage or in various projects. But what Hart didn't know is that Haddish was homeless at this point in her life and in her career. She'd show up to jobs about 5 or 10 minutes late so that people wouldn't see in her car and see that she indeed had all of her clothes and all of her belongings in there as well. And one day, Hart, who really appreciated and respected and admired Haddish, found out that she was living in her car, and he went up to her and he said, "You can't do that. You've got so much talent. Here." And he reached into his pocket and he gave her all the money that he had on her, which was $300. And he said, take this, go find an apartment or a room, go there, rest, and write down a list of goals. And then dedicate yourself to those goals every single day. And that's what she did. She took some of that $300 and got just a room for a handful of hours on that afternoon. But she rested and she showered, and then she sat down to a desk and she wrote her goals and dedicated herself that day to checking in each day. What are my goals and how am I trying to make those happen? She looked at Kevin Hart and said, that's what he did. Maybe I can do the same thing too. And indeed, that's exactly what she did. And her career blossomed. Her life changed. She became an actress, a successful comedian, a host on TV. She, in fact, was the first Black woman host of Saturday Night Live, a performance for which she won an Emmy. She dreamed. She had goals, she made a plan, and she dedicated. To this day, Kevin Hart will not give her the $300. She cannot give Kevin Hart the $300 back. He won't accept it. He says, oh, it's yours. But in truth, he says he just likes the connection. He likes to hold it over her head. It's a joke between the two of them now. And in case you're wondering, Kevin Hart, before he dedicated himself, worked in a shoe store. For Haddish, the drive of having her goals was enough. For others, we might need a little more structure. I know that I do indeed. So sometimes structure is what can help us find those goals. Accountability, in which to be creative. And this is one of the reasons why I love church. What church offers me today, and I know it does for so many others in this community. A church is many things, a place of spiritual exploration and questions and answers, comfort and care, community and fellowship. But another thing that it is, it's a structure in our life that reminds us of our values and our dreams and our goals and our plans and what we want to dedicate our very lives to. The lives and hours and time of our day. How is it we are spending those? A diversity, equity, and inclusion group offers us a great example and opportunity here. My hope is that each and every one of us have a personal goal and a social goal to become more aware of the ways that white supremacy culture and racism influence our own lives and the lives in the world in which we live. And that's exactly what this 21-day challenge is about that begins on October 4th. October 4th with the first reading, and October 11th with the first meeting. It's an invitation to explore. And this year it focuses on Indigenous communities. So here you have the dream, a world with more justice for Indigenous people and a better personal understanding and relationship with that. And then a plan for learning and for action for 21 days, daily dedication, and a structure in which to do that. This congregation has a mission and a vision as well as our structure, to seek meaning and celebrate life and serve the spirit of love and justice in the world. And our vision, which speaks to spiritual growth and authentic connection and active justice. All this is a part of a process and a journey that we take part in. Not necessarily a destination, but this is what church is all about. The dedication to self and to that larger whole of which we are a part. Why do we do this? Because we know it's a frightening and sobering fact that possibility does work in both directions. Barry Washington Jr. came to Bend from San Francisco 6 months ago, full of possibility. He was shot and killed in downtown Bend last week. What is possible? In the absence of love, support, and understanding, and justice seeking, we know that terrible things are possible as well. Hate crimes and slavery and torture, and genocide. Anything is possible. It goes in both directions. So it becomes even more important for us to dedicate on the possibility of good and love and truth and peace. That space of possibility that opens up in front of us to fulfill those dreams. Amongst all this high talk of saving the world and bettering ourselves, we'll also remind ourselves to be gentle, to be patient, that all this takes time and endurance. And not every day will work out as planned, and not every day will lead to a step higher on the mountain. And some days will feel like failure, and hopefully we can learn from that. And some days will be rest, and some days will be just getting through. And so patience, perhaps, is the last in our list of possibility. Dreaming, and goals, and a plan, and dedication, but also patience. And this is how we begin to transform our lives and our world. We start today, on any given day, and then we do it again tomorrow. In this way, we change ourselves, we change the world. In this way, over time, we can even eat a chair, should we want to eat a chair. We should take a note from the choir this morning and say with full authority, I am possibility. What a profound theological statement to say out loud. I invite you to say it out loud right now if you want. If not, if you're in a room with other people, that's fine. Say it later by yourself. But imagine saying that out loud into the universe, and then it's real. It's already true, but make it manifest. What is possible is more than a list of things that are conceivable or potentially realized. The idea of possibility means that the future is open, that history is not written. We are co-creating this world around us with our thoughts and with our actions, and so what we dream of matters. Even more, what we dedicate our lives to matters. Each moment is a new moment of relational experience with this world around us. And each moment, the universe offers us expansive possibility. What we choose to do with the unfolding of the very universe itself, reality coming into being, is our very lives. Reality coming into being through us, with us, and most miraculously, by us. So let us call that reality that is coming into being through us, with us, and by us, let us call that to be one of love. Love through us, love with us, and love by us. May it be so. Amen.
but we'll get there. Heaven knows that we will get there. We know we will.
I did that last week too. If I get excited at this part, I guess. If you have lit a chalice in your own home, we invite you to extinguish this at this time. Ours has already extinguished itself because of the cross breeze that we have. We are learning as we go here, as we all become more accustomed to being in this space together. And as you do that, let's say our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another. We invite you to join us after our service today for our virtual breakout rooms, our coffee hour, as we like to call it. It's a space where we just meet in groups of about 5 or 6 to have a brief conversation about a question. Today's question that we're gathering around is, what is something in your life that you've accomplished over time? What is something you have dedicated yourself to? So I invite you to stay after the postlude, and we will have the breakout rooms happen at that time, our virtual coffee hour. Also, during the postlude, we'll put some information up on that slide around how you can support the good works of this. Oh, wait, no, it's Greater Community Collection Sunday. So we'll put up information about how you can support the good works of Think Wild. You heard earlier from Sarah around the good works that they are doing. Part of the good works we do is to support the good works of other people. So we invite you this morning to text. You can do that through your text on your phone, or you can do that through our website as well. We close today with these words from the Reverend Sarah Lawal. When the pull to disappear takes hold with all its harsh realities, may we conjure up that fierce love to bring our hopeful vision into being, discovering the humanity, bravery, and goodness still calling us forth. May we breathe into a story and make it come alive. In this day full of possibility, we wish that for you, to discover that humanity, that bravery, and that goodness that is very much possible inside of your own very life. Go in peace. Amen.